Hi, it's Make It Month 3 and today I'm going to show you some basic forming using some pliers. So here I've got some snipe nose pliers, or you could use flat ones with a nice flat surface. And I have a little couple of beads, little gemstone beads, and a ring mandrel. And I'm going to show you how to make a pair of earrings with these. So to do that, you're going to need a ring mandrel or something with a circumference bigger than the bead that you want to use. You're going to need a hammer of some description, any hammer will do. I said you're going to need some pliers and you're going to need some wire. I'm using sterling silver 0.8mm round wire because 0.8mm is the thickness that we usually put through our ears. But you could use copper or brass, and you could go up to about 1mm if you'd rather. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is slot this wire through the hole in my bead, but I need to create something to stop it being able to slide straight back off again. I could put a little bend in there or make a little swirl, but what I'm going to do is forge the end. So this is a really basic introduction to forging. Forging is a way of shaping the metal without losing any of it, compared to, say, filing, where you lose some of your material. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the flat surface of my hammer and I'm just going to hit it gently. And then hopefully you can see it's formed a little paddle shape. So it's flattened out and it's splayed out. So it's got wider at the end. Now I'm going to do exactly the same to my other bit of wire. And there we go. So I've just hammered the ends of these wires, and as you can see they've splayed out a bit, rounded off, and they're a little bit thinner there from where I've hammered them, and it was purely from holding it on the steel block and giving it a hammer. The only tricky bit is getting them even, which just comes with practice. So you want to hammer them the same amount at the same point, so therefore they start tapering at the same point and they splay out the same amount. If it's a little bit wonky, you could always take a needle file and just round those off. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my bead, I'm going to take a circle template and hold it over my bead and see which one it fits into. Right, 18mm looks pretty good. And then I'm going to take that and slot it onto my ring mandrel so I know what circumference will fit round the outside of that bead nice and tightly. You could also do this with ring sizes. Go. So I've marked that, got my little guideline there. So what I need to do now is take my beads, take my wires, thread the beads onto the wire, and that little flat bit should now act as a neat little stopper. Like so. And then I'm going to wrap this wire around the ring mandrel where I made that mark. So nice and tight around the ring mandrel. So I end up with something like that. And then I'm going to do the same on the other one. So holding the bead level with the mark and wrapping the wire tight around it. Slide off. You're probably thinking it looks a really weird shape at the minute. So now I'm going to take my snipe nose pliers, so nice and flat. It's going to help that they've got a very skinny jaw compared to some of the big chunky flat ones. So if you don't have snipe ones, you might need to use your round nose pliers, the skinny bit near the end. But what I want to do is grip the wire right where it's coming out the top of my bead, and I'm going to bend a right angle into it, like that. And then just with my fingers, I'm going to turn the bead round. There we go. And now that little bead is sat inside that little hoop. I'm going to do the same on these ones. Gripping it right where it comes out the top of the bead, putting in a right angle, and then just twisting the loop around. You have to play around with it a little bit with your fingers. The next thing I want to do is put another right angle bend in it, and this time it's going to be on the long bit of wire that's sticking out. but I want to put the bend level with the top of the hole of that bead, so level with where the wire came out the top of the hole. So I'm going to, shaky hands, grab the wire, and I'm going to pull it tight, put the bend in it, like so. So now the wire's coming down the back. Again, do the same with the other one. So grabbing it tight next to where the hole is in the top of the bead, and pulling that wire nice and tight and bending it down the back, like so. So the next thing I need to do is trim these down. So all I need to do now is decide how long I want the tail, so the bit that goes through my ear, to be. So I think I'm going to cut it a bit lower than the ear wire so it's sticking out. And then I'm going to cut this one the same. So you can either hold them together, level, and cut, or you could get a ruler and measure. There we go. So all I need to do now is straighten these out and give them a little file. So to straighten them out, I could use my flat pliers and just sort of give the wire a little squash, which will also make it a bit harder and springier and less likely to misshape them. Or I could use my mallet, which I'll show you in a minute. Now these ends are jaggy, you wouldn't want to put these in your ears. So I'm going to hold the very end of the wire so that it's only just poking out. This wire is really thin, so if I held it up a height and tried to file, I'm just going to be bending the wire over all the time, missshaping it. So I want to hold it nice and low, support it well with my thumb, and then I can file that little end flat. Same on the other one. And then even once it's flat, it can be a little bit jaggy. So I'm going to take some sandpaper and just give it a little rub as well. You're just trying to get rid of any burrs, any sharp edges. Make it nice and comfy. If you want to harden these wires even more, make them more springy, so try and do this back to front so you can see. Support the wire on your steel block, and then what you're going to do is take your rawhide mallet, give it a little hammer. You just need to be really careful that you don't hammer the rest of the earring. You don't want to mush it. And like I say, if you find that you're struggling to get into the shape and hammer it without hitting everything else, you can just use you can just use your flat pliers to give it a little squeeze instead, and that will also harden it up a little bit and make it more springy. There you go, spring test. Ding ding ding. So they're ready to wear now. Super simple introduction to forming. Quick and fun to make. They are always going to be fairly delicate, but if you do that hammering or plier work at the end, that will harden your wires off and they're less likely to misshape them. And there you go. So have a little go, see if you've got any old beads lying around, or in a second I'm going to show you how to do some just with the wire so that you don't need the beads. But they're nice and light, really quick, really easy to do, and quite unusual. So I quite like them. Let me know how you get on with it. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to form another pair of ear wires, this time just using the wire, so no beads like the video before. These are the offcuts because, you know me, I didn't bother measuring the wire the first time, so I cut far too much from it, and waste not want not. So I'm going to show you how to use these up. So what we're going to do is we're going to form a little spiral in the end of the wire, and the way you do that is you take some round nose pliers, so the ones that are cylindrical all the way around, and good practice actually would be to file the end of your wire first. So give it a click, and then what you're going to do is you're going to grip the end of your wire in the very, very, very tip of your round nose pliers so that you can't feel it sticking out. It's important that you can't feel it sticking out, because if it's sticking out and we bend it, we're going to make a weird teardrop shape, and I want to make a nice tight spiral, so not sticking out. Then what I'm going to do is make sure I've got a nice tight grip. I'm going to support where the wire is coming out underneath the pliers with the thumb of my opposite hand, and then I'm going to turn these pliers, or you can pull the wire around, whatever feels more comfortable, or push the wire, but the important thing is it's tight to that barrel, so tight to the barrel of the pliers. And the other important thing is you stop when it's curled around one side, come up, and then is touching where the wire began, because if you keep going you'll end up wrapping it over both the barrels of the pliers and you'll get a weird flat bit with a bend in it. So it's really, really important, like I say, to stop as soon as you've made a loop going all the way around. I'm going to do that on the other one now, so I've got a matching pair. Okay, so once I've got my little loop, I'm going to swap to my flat or snipe nose pliers, so the ones with the flat surface inside them. And I'm going to put the wire in the jaw of the pliers near the base, because I'm going to get a better grip down there because of the way they close. They close on that V shape, so the closer to the base, the tighter a grip you've got. And I want it so that the side of the loop is only just poking out and no more, and that the wire is sticking out the bottom of the loop at a right angle. So if I slide that out slightly, so you can see my loop's going up and over, I'm sliding it into the base of the pliers so that the loop is only just sticking out and no more, and that the wire is sticking out at a right angle at the bottom of your loop. Nice tight grip. I'm going to take that wire, support it with my finger and push it up in the air like that. So as soon as I've done that, I'm going to loosen the grip on the pliers. I'm going to rotate my wire back round to the starting position so that it's at the base of the pliers, the loop is only just poking out, and the wire is at a right angle at the bottom of the loop. Nice tight grip, push it up. And then again, so loosen my grip, rotate it down, back into position, push it up, and again. And once you get going, it goes a lot easier. It's the first couple that takes a little bit of work. There you go, and I've made a little spiral. So now I'm going to do the same on the other one, and I want to do the same amount of spirals, so it's a matching pair. So now I've got two little spirals, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give them a little hammer. So if I move the camera down a little minute so you can see. Here we go. Little spiral. Taking my hammer, I'm going to use the flat surface of it, and I'm just going to give these a little hammer. Now I've got two little spirals. I've hammered them for a little bit of interest, but they're quite flat at the minute. I fancy getting a bit more of a 3D form on them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pliers again. It could be your snipe-nosed ones or your round-nosed ones, just anything that's nice and skinny on the end of them. I'm going to close them, and I'm going to place the point in the middle of my spiral. And then what I'm going to do, it's going to be a bit fiddly to see, is I'm going to support either side of the spiral with my fingers, and then I'm just going to push with the pliers, and what that's going to do is it's just going to make the spiral bulge out a little bit and put a little bit of 3D interest into it. It's up to you how far you go, just have a play around. And again, I'm going to do the same on the other one. Just making sure I'm giving it a little bit of support, and then I'm just pushing the middle of the spiral so it's bulging out a little bit. The next thing you might notice is that the spiral is going off to one side, and I would quite like to have the spiral straight at the bottom. So I'm going to take my snipe or round nose pliers, I'm going to hold the straight bit of wire just above the spiral, and I'm just going to go dunk. So just put a little bend in it to the side so that the wire now sticks straight up. So I've got the spiral straight at the bottom. This is called breaking the neck. Really nice phrase. Just a little dink. There we go. So now I just need to put the bend in so that it can go through my ear. So the first thing I want to do is decide how long I want the little drop to be and how long I want the tail down the back. I think with these ones I would quite like them to sit quite high in my ear and have a longer tail down the back. So I'm just going to put a little mark where I want to bend it, and then I'm going to mark the other one up to match. Like that. I'm going to take some round nose pliers. I'm going to grip my wire at that mark, and then about a third of the way down the jaw, it sort of depends how much of a curve you want to fit through your earlobe, I'm going to hold them and I'm just going to push the wire over and then down the back, like so. Same on the other ones. Again, if you want to be really accurate, you can mark on your pliers where you're holding it so you get the same curve each time. There we go. And then lastly, all that's left to do is check that the tails, the ends of your wires are the same length. If they're not, trim them down. And then what you want to do is file them again. So give it the draggy end a little file to make sure it's nice and flat. And then when you've got it nice and flat, give it a little twiddle with some emery paper just to get rid of any last jaggy, raggy surfaces. And similar to last time, we can work harden them a little bit. Hold it on here, give it a little tap with the mallet, being careful not to squish the rest of it. And remember, you can do that bit with your pliers. There we go. So 2 little pairs of earrings. Super simple, super quick and easy and fun to make. Materials cost hardly anything, but it's a good little introduction to forming and forging. So how to shape your wire, whether it's splaying it out with hammering to make little stoppers or for decorative effect, or just how to use your pliers to bend basic shapes. But you can get really creative with this and make whatever catches your eye. So have a go, see how you get on, let me know. Use the hashtag MakeItMonth3 to share your progress, and I really look forward to seeing what you create.